like to watch this YouTube channel called Blame It on Jorge, and in his channel, he talks about a lot of lost media. I've never talked about lost media to my knowledge from my time being on YouTube, so I figured I'd take a crack at it by talking about this cute little comic called Bone, made by Jeff Smith. Bone is a fantasy comic book series created by Jeff Smith and published by Cartoon Books that ran from 1991 to 2004 for 55 issues. It tells the story of Bone's cousin, Fo, Phony, and Smiley, who ran out of Boneville and ended up in the valley. With the help of Thorn and her grandmother, Grandma Ben, the cousins try to get back to their home. All the while, they're caught up in trials and tribulations through the valley, and even a war. The series has become a beloved cult classic among readers, and many attempts having been made to adapt the series into a film. However, none have been successful. Only a handful of material for either adaptation of the comic has surfaced. So, for the longest time, Bone was going to be made into a movie, but there hasn't been any, success with it. So we're going to be going over that in this video. So the first version of Bone was the Nickelodeon movie and Paramount Pictures version from 1998 to 2000. In August 1998, Jeff Smith signed a deal with Paramount Pictures and Nickelodeon Movies to produce an animated adaptation of Bone. A first draft of the script was written a year later, with Smith stating that pre-production may start in 2000s, with him to lead as director. In the summer of 2000s, as reported by Corona Comic Attractions, it was to be traditionally animated by character builders, Smith's now defunct animation studio, and with a tentative release date set for 2002. However, while Nickelodeon and Paramount were both very high on producing in its meetings, they wouldn't return any phone calls from Smith afterwards, and had the choice to let the Bone film rights expire later that year, which would foreshadow the eventual fate of the film. The story would have followed the Bone cousins ending up in the valley, where they would meet Thorn and Grandma Ben. Smith pitched the story to be very simple, but with an open ending that could potentially lead to more sequels in the future. However, Nickelodeon wanted to change the ending to make the film more kid-friendly. Most notably, they wanted the Bones to be played by children, and for Phone Bone to have magic gloves. They also wanted to shift more focus on the character Thorn, and even debated focusing the movie on her instead. There were also talks of pop songs by NSYNC and Britney Spears to be featured in the film's soundtrack, which was quickly turned down by Smith. The executive meddling caused Smith to walk out of the film, resulting in production being cancelled in August 2000. But in a September 2000 interview with the Comics 2 film website, Smith said that even after the film's initial end the prior month, there was still a chance for it to be made. As he stated, "I'm definitely not running away from it. In fact, we're still talking. I think things are good. I'm not frustrated in any way. We're just taking a breather. I just had to hit the reset button." By December 2002, in an IGN interview where he asked 10 questions about himself, Smith said he shelved the idea of an animated Bone at the time, seemingly killing any hope for the original film to be produced. So, after the Nickelodeon's Paramount thing failed, eventually Warner Brothers came in around 2008 to 2016. Nearly 8 years after the previous version was canceled, it was revealed in March of 2008 that a new Bones film was in production. This time, it was to be distributed by Warner Brothers Pictures, with Dan Lin producing and Smith coming on board as executive producer. Animal Logic, known for their Oscar-winning film Happy Feet, and Lin Pictures were up to produce, as it was later announced in 2009 that the film was instead going to become a CGI trilogy, with motion capture animation being provided by the former. The first film in the proposed trilogy would have been based on either the first 3 or 4 books, with a potential PG-13 rating attached, and was to be written by Farscape writer Justin Monjo. A 4-minute animation demo reel was shown to Smith in summer 2011, who described it as, "Phone Bone was falling in the water and was going through cliffs and canyons. The dragon moved in from off-camera in the shadows with smoke around him, all in 3D. It was pretty mind-blowing." In January 2012, Greek creator Patrick Sean Smith was brought on to write from working on a previous draft by Monjo, and PJ Hogan signed on as the director with a project release date of either 2013 or 2014. However, no updates for the film came for nearly 5 years, and in November 2016, Mark Osborne and Adam Klein were revealed to direct and write the film trilogy, effectively replacing Smith and Hogan. There had been no further news on the project since, and with the announcement of a Bone animated series coming to Netflix in October 2019, the project is all but certain to be shelved. However, on April 20th, 2022, Netflix canceled their attempt altogether, leaving the series' future to become animated in question. Prior to that cancellation in 2021, it was revealed at one point in development, Osborn was joined by Kubo and the Two Strings writer Shannon Tyndall and El Tigre and the Book of Life creator Jorge R. Gutierrez to write the trilogy simultaneously and planned to direct one of the three films each. It was implied that adaptation was briefly considered to be moved to 20th Century Fox, but any plans fell through once Disney's acquisition of the company was fulfilled in 2019. The tweet remains the only public mention of the alleged Fox version. Up until the early 2020s, no material from either version of the film had surfaced, but it was discovered on August 16, 2020 by Reddit user Clean Cupcakes on r/bone that Paramount concept art was featured on a defunct animation website called Animated Movies on their page about the Bone film. Though its initial legitimacy was questioned, fellow Reddit user Lokuri revealed further details and was able to prove that the art was legitimate. The concept art was featured in a collection of novels for the series titled Bone Vernal Equinox Slipcase Edition, and also contained another piece of concept art for the film. A day later, the user uploaded both images, albeit in low quality. On February 6, 2021, Lost Media user Fun.Tendo was able to find a high-quality version of the second image presented in the Bone Vernal Equinox Slipcase Edition via using the Wayback Machine to search for a September 2000 Smith interview with Comic 2's film mention in the Animated Movies page about the film. In the article, the previously unknown artist behind both images was revealed to be Neil Ross, a UK concept art designer that has worked on plenty of films, including Braveheart and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And apparently both of the known concept art were shared to Comics 2 film in 1999 from the Comics Books site, now known as the Bonesville website. On April 19, 2021, Twitter user Lost Media Monsters published an image of the Warner Bros. Adaptation screenplay front cover, which had previously been unknown to most of the public, titled Bone: Return of the Dragon and written by Adam Klein and Mark Osborn. It had been produced sometime from late 2016 to early 2017. While no specific details were given about the film, the user did state the full script could be possibly released. On July 8, 2022, Reddit user Kathman0 would publish higher quality versions of the Paramount version's concept art alongside a mock-up poster for the aforementioned attempt, previously unseen. Both post materials were taken from a 2011 book known as Modern Masters Volume 25 by Jeff Smith by Eric Nolan Wethington. To this day, it's still unknown how much, if any, animation was done for the Paramount version of the film, if any more concept art exists for it, or any further material from the Warner Bros. Version is out there. Netflix's own attempt, albeit as an animated series, has also yet to have any of its own production material released. With 3 canceled adaptations of Bone, it's unlikely any of them will ever see the light of day.